The enigma of the deserted residence. In a tranquil, secluded town nestled within the woods, there stood an ancient residence enveloped in ominous tales. The townsfolk stayed away as if from a curse, exchanging eerie stories about its frightful history. It was rumored that during full moon nights, peculiar noises could be heard emanating from the house, with shadows wandering about like phantoms. No one was aware of the events that had transpired there many years prior, yet all remembered that nobody had come back alive after visiting it. A daring couple, Lena and Max, opted to do something reckless. They decided to spend a night within those very walls. Their curiosity piqued, and while everyone else avoided the house, they welcomed the chance for excitement. They gathered flashlights and a camera to record their experiences. Their friends chuckled and attempted to dissuade them, but their resolve was strong. As night descended, Lena and Max reached the house. It appeared forsaken. The windows were shattered, the doors groaned in the breeze, and the paint on the walls was peeling away. Upon stepping inside, the couple was met with a cold breeze and a scent of decay. They flicked on their flashlights and commenced their exploration of the various rooms. Every room was filled with antiquated furniture cloaked in dust. They stumbled upon books with yellowing pages, neglected belongings, and even an old piano that had not been played in years. In one corner, they found an old photograph of a family with 3 children. The expressions of their faces were all oddly vacant. Who can say what became of them? Lena pondered, striving to maintain a lighthearted tone. But Max, always more perceptive, merely shook his head, feeling his heart race in his chest. After several hours of their exploration, they decided to enjoy a small snack. Suddenly, from a distance, they caught a crackling sound, as if someone were treading across the floor. Lena chuckled and suggested, "Maybe it's a ghost wanting to join us." Max attempted to respond with humor, but their laughter faded when both heard a faint whisper resonating from one of the adjacent rooms. It could not have been the wind, their imaginations could not have conjured it. They edged closer, and suddenly, the door to the room creaked open on its own. Lena's heart raced, yet she took a step forward, nudging Max behind her. Inside lay darkness, and they pointed their flashlight into the empty space. There was nothing out of the ordinary, just dust and old furnishings, but then something caught their eye, a mirror hanging on the wall. It was draped in cobwebs and grime, yet they noticed a peculiar flicker within it. Lena leaned in closer, and as she did, her reflection unexpectedly shifted. A ghostly silhouette manifested just behind her. A heartbeat later, she spun around, but no one was there. Max observed her bewildered expression and inquired, "Are you all right?" She nodded, but her voice trembled. "I believe I saw something. There, in the mirror." "Let's leave," Max suggested, his voice grave. But before they could escape, an explosive crack resounded, and the room filled with bizarre noises, as though someone were pounding from within the walls. Lena and Max bolted toward the door, but it forcefully slammed shut. Their hearts raced quicker, and with each fleeting moment, their dread intensified. They desperately pushed against the door, but it would not yield. "This is not normal," Lena screamed, her voice reverberating off the walls. Meanwhile, their flashlights dimmed, plunging them into darkness. Fear engulfed them, and they sensed movement in one corner of the room. Lena raised her flashlight, but the beam of light only highlighted the horror closing in around them. Suddenly, a voice emerged, soft, muffled, and steeped in despair. "Help us. We can't escape." At the sound of that voice, goosebumps raced across Lena's skin. They exchanged terrified glances, then screamed in unison. At that moment their cries merged into one. Shadows around them started to twist and shift, as if the house itself was rousing from slumber. Unable to withstand their terror, Lena grasped Max's hand, pulling him toward the door. In that instant, one of the walls that blocked them cracked open, and they sprinted outside into the waiting forest night. Behind them, laughter echoed. Once outside, they dashed down the path without looking back. Although Lena ran, the sound of that voice echoed in her mind. The following day, they recounted their night at the house to their friends, but no one believed them. Could such things truly happen in real life? Yet Lena was certain something had unfolded. They had glimpsed something far beyond understanding. A few days after returning to their ordinary lives, Lena began to hear unsettling whispers in her dreams. It felt as though those who remained in the house wanted to keep her with them. Each time she dozed off, the sounds escalated in volume and desperation, until one night they roused her from sleep. Desperately attempting to shield herself from her fears, she called out for Max. His voice came through calm but laced with concern. "Lena, I feel something's off too. Perhaps we should return and uncover the truth of what transpired there." And so they made the decision to revisit the house in search of answers. But this time, they both understood that the spirits within the home might wish to claim them as their own. Their return to the house entailed fresh trials. They found themselves once again in the shadowy corridors, where each rustle quickened their heartbeats. But this time, Lena was prepared to confront the darkness. She recognized that she was not merely an explorer, but woven into the very fabric of this ominous legacy. Upon entering the room containing the mirror, she gazed into her reflection and whispered, "I'm here to uncover the truth." Silence enveloped them. In that instant, a strange luminescence flickered within the mirror. Lena felt a pull, but she summoned all her strength and clung tightly to Max's hand. They were together, on the verge of confronting whatever dwelled in that haunted atmosphere. Reluctantly, the couple was seized by a chilling wave of recollections. They witnessed images the same family from the photograph, children at play in the garden, and a mother observing them with astonishment, as if they were remnants of her distant past. "They were once happy," Lena whispered, her voice echoing in the vast emptiness. Yet in an instant, everything transformed. The images vanished, replaced by reflections of twisted faces, wailing in anguish and sorrow. Max squeezed his eyes shut, while Lena continued to gaze, burdened by an inner compulsion. She knew they owed it to themselves to unearth the truth, even if it was horrifying. "Why are you here?" she queried, her voice wavering. At that moment, the expression of one of the apparitions morphed into profound resentment. "We cannot escape," the chorus of voices murmured, reverberating throughout the room as though the very air was filled with lost souls. Lena and Max grasped that none meant them harm. They were entwined in this dreadful narrative, part of the suffering that lingered within the walls of that house. "We will help you," Lena asserted, pressing her hand to her heart. It was as if the spirits sensed the authenticity of her words. They began to murmur among themselves, their cries softened, and Lena, growing more assured, asked once again, "What must we do?" At that moment, the shrouding darkness that enveloped the room began to lift. The walls began to resonate, and Lena felt the shadows weaken. She faced a choice to release the spirits back to the world or to guide them to the other side. Something deep within urged her, end their suffering. They don't deserve to remain in torment forever. She turned to Max. "We must help them find peace." The entire house erupted into brilliant light as they spoke words they had never before known, and with each phrase, the spirits became more defined. In an instant, they faded into silence, transforming into a luminous mist that swiftly dissipated. When the light dimmed, Lena and Max found themselves alone. They felt that the house had undergone a transformation, no longer a threatening place, but a sanctuary filled with light and memories. They stepped outside, and a brisk wind enveloped them, as if the world had returned to balance. To signify the events, they climbed into their car and drove away, leaving behind the deserted house that posed no further danger. But suddenly, Lena paused and glanced back, as if to offer a farewell. It appeared she saw a shadow in one of the forsaken rooms dissolving into the moonlight, and although she recognized she would bear the weight of that horror and fear, deep down, she already understood that she had accomplished something significant.